Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. This one's going to be all about the new Avatar The Last Airbender Zuko Funko Pop. So we saw this revealed a bunch of weeks ago. Someone randomly found it, bought it, posted pictures of it. We had not heard rumors, teases, or anything about this figure before that time, and suddenly it exists, one person has it, and I guess we just have to wait to see where it's going to be available. And we got the announcement just recently, it's going to be a BoxLunch Exclusive, and so here is the product listing on the BoxLunch website. You can see it has the sticker BoxLunch Exclusive on it, and it's glow in the dark, of course. This is how it's going to be available. No other Avatar Funko Pops have been announced recently, so it does seem to just be this one-off exclusive, but it might sort of set the path towards a second wave, because this is book 3 Zuko and we haven't really seen any of the characters' book 3 designs. So this is the first one, and hopefully we get a wave 2 with book 3 Katara, Sokka in armor or something like that, Aang's book 3 design, stuff like that. But either way, huge demand for this figure because people were hyped when they first saw it, and then it gets officially revealed. Of course they want this figure. There is a huge issue though with the pre-order and how it went down, because they announced the pre-order basically the day of the pre-order in like the morning, saying that night at I think 8 Pacific 11 Eastern was when the pre-orders were going to go live. I think it came out later that they said in emails like approximately like 8 Pacific. But still, there's that, and then I think when the Funko Facebook page talked about it, they said that the pre-orders were going live at 8. So if you didn't get an email directly from BoxLunch, you didn't know about the approximately bit. And so what ended up happening was that if you only went to the site for 8, you completely missed out, because the figure was sold out completely before that time, because they'd put the pre-order live 15 minutes earlier, so it basically went up at like 7:45 instead of 8, and no one who waited until the actual time got a chance to get it. And look, the word approximately here is the sort of get out of jail free card on this, I guess, but that still isn't great, especially given what's happened over the last few weeks with certain other sort of high in-demand products, like pre-orders for PlayStation 5, pre-orders for Xbox Series S and X, as well as like the new Nvidia graphics cards that came out, and just the issues surrounding them with like limited launches, how stores are set up with regards to these pre-orders go live at a specific time, and just a lot of stuff going wrong. And I think the same thing happened here, in that it doesn't seem like BoxLunch had a limited enough limit on it. I think people were saying it's like 5 if you go to order, but it probably should have been like 2 or even 1, given how exclusive this was. And then putting it on sale 15 minutes before the time that they said, even if they said approximately 15 minutes, I think is pushing approximately, because to me approximately is like maybe 10 minutes at most, but really I'd say 5 minutes before or after is really what approximately should mean. That you give them some leeway with the idea that like they have to set up this thing to suddenly change at a specific time, that it's going to take a few seconds. But 15 minutes feels like, that's a bit of an excessive, and it shouldn't be that complicated of a process for these exclusives. You have to be on a website like half an hour beforehand, but it happens, I guess. It just shows that they didn't have the stock that was needed. There is a huge demand, and the problem, of course, in this case is that with people using bots and stuff like that, what seems to have happened is that a lot of the people who bought this are just buying it to sell it on at a higher price. So it's already an exclusive, and now it's even more exclusive because most of the first batch here of the sales of this figure are just going to be sold on. That very few of them, I suppose, are going to get into the hands of just collectors wanting the figure. and it just basically inflates the price of the figure, even though it's just been released. And it's not a great look. That this has happened with Funko Pops before, but this is the first time I've really seen it so directly with the Avatar Funko Pops. But I'll talk about that in just a minute. So that's what happened with the pre-order, and like the figure is really nice. Like, look, there's the glow in the dark effect. There's the figure from behind, showing that he has the sword detail on the back here, and there's the front look. It was like, yes, Book 3 Zuko is what everyone's wanted since the, Book 1 Zuko in Wave 1, which is good. But no one's the biggest fan of the Book 1 Zuko design, especially like the hairstyle. It's a really nicely designed Funko Pop from the first wave, and they obviously had the chase version of it as well with the fire daggers, but everyone wants the Book 3 design. So in the same way that I thought it was a relatively bad move to have the Azula figure be an exclusive, I think it's a similarly bad move to have the Book 3 Zuko be a exclusive also. Because those seem to be the two figures that are the most expensive when it comes to Avatar figures. Now, I think part of that is because the Avatar Funkos were released before its big return to Netflix, and the popularity of the series, has risen to this insane level. So, there is a re-release, I think, of the first wave coming, but that doesn't really apply to the exclusives. And so if you look at the Azula Funko Pop on eBay, look at these prices: $135, $170, $100, $112, $145, $200, $220. And I think even if you look at like Funko Pop websites that specifically price track the figures, it's pretty much valued at in or around $160. And this was the GameStop exclusive Azula, which I have, and I got. But I got just because I bought it on like eBay for like twice the price of a normal figure, so it was like 30 euros instead of 15. And that's where I'm kind of at with these things, of like, this Azula was never officially released in the UK or Ireland as far as I'm aware. So if I had waited, my only option to get this figure would be to pay at this point like $100. So instead, the approach I'm sort of taking is that, like, if I can get these figures for like just a bit over the standard price, given that I doubt they're going to be available in my region ever, for these exclusive ones, I'm fine with that. So I have, pre-ordered on eBay this Zuko figure for about twice the price, because I know that the same thing that happens with the Azula here is going to happen with this Zuko, pretty much. I doubt, as you can see here on the listing here, yes, okay, it's going to be back in stock in like, January? I doubt that's going to be enough to immediately, satiate all fans who want this thing. So, and then even if I do order from here, the shipping from BoxLunch is probably going to bring up the price of the figure to in or around twice already. So for anyone internationally, it's kind of like the eBay prices are like kind of like a decent way to go almost. So you can see here that 45, 36. Ignore the shipping costs, because of course this is ebay.com, so these are like shipping prices to Ireland. They'll probably be cheaper if you're actually from America. There's the Book 1 Zuko, which, even the like originals are still going for a little bit over the price, highlighting the popularity surrounding these things. So in a way, something like this, paying like 36 for it, given that this is highly likely to eventually go up to a price more in the range of this. And this was like a GameStop exclusive, and my impression is that they got a lot of this figure here, because GameStop is like one of the biggest seller of exclusive Funkos, and look at the price that it's got to. So my approach here with this is definitely that, like, at least for me, I'm kind of like, yeah, I paid like just over 30 euro, I think, with the pre-order for this. And I'm fine with that, because I think that's the price I'll be paying for it anyway. That's the price I would have had to pay for this Azula if I was able to order from GameStop America when it first released. Factoring in shipping costs to Ireland and potentially paying customs and stuff like that on it. That given that the Avatar and Korra Funkos don't seem to, get the exclusives over here, it's just the situation that we find ourselves in. So, just purely my very recent experience with Funkos, based on just the Avatar ones, would be that as much as it's a terrible sort of precedent that's now being set here, it feels like, paying your $36 or whatever for the Zuko, if you really want this in your collection, might be the way to go if you cannot secure yourself a pre-order here for the kind of standard retail price. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is with some of these Funkos, and especially now that Avatar is so much more popular than it was back in Wave 1, it's even more difficult. With more people getting into collecting stuff, and the fact that we've seen this across even with the comics, like the library editions for pretty much all of the comics are going in and out of stock constantly, and stuff like the Search library edition is very difficult to get a hold of. The Search Part 1, difficult to get a hold of, and so if the Search Omnibus is coming out in like a couple of weeks, my recommendation is like get your pre-order in for that if you want it, because Avatar stuff is super popular at the moment. And so an exclusive Zuko, Book 3 Zuko Funko Pop, of course, it's going to be incredibly popular. But yeah, let's just take a look at the Facebook page here. So the interesting thing here is, of course, that they posted this at September 28 at 4:01 a.m., which is a minute, like that's 4:01 a.m. Ireland time, which you have to go back 5 hours to get to 11 p.m. Eastern. So they posted this on Facebook 1 minute after the pre-order supposedly went live, and it was immediately out of stock because it was actually available for sale like 16 minutes before this post, and you can see it here already. It was already sold out, was waiting on the website for an entire hour early, and it did not show up at all. Not a single response from them about this. Sold out before it was due to release again, and yeah, all up on eBay for 30 and so on. And it's like, that's not great. Even the reviews you can see here, 1 star, and you obviously have one troll here, got mine LOL, and just the whole approximately and so on, and it's just like, yeah, very helpful, defending bad practices from companies, not a great take to have. But yeah, people just having the disappointment about the fact that they didn't put a low enough limit on these. So I guess you could buy more than 2 even if it was available. And then they said a time but didn't really stick to it, and saying it's approximate isn't enough. So definitely a problem here with this release. It didn't go well at all, as you can see. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, the Funkos are, I suppose, one of the better collectibles in the Avatar franchise at the moment, because the Diamond Select figures, they're going to take so long to come out with like multiple waves and so on. Not everyone likes those figures. They're more expensive than Funko Pops. So people like these as a sort of, especially with the standard ones, like an easy to get collectible that's not particularly expensive. Of course you want some of these ones in your collection, and so yeah, absolutely keep an eye on BoxLunch to try and get your pre-order in and so on. But also keep in mind that yes, it is terrible that you have to pay like 2-3 times the price to get one right now if you really want it. But it's better paying 2 or 3 times the price than paying 10 times the price. And to me, the demand for this one seems like it was higher than potentially this Azula one, which, like I said, was the GameStop exclusive, so it was much more readily available than BoxLunch. So you have to keep all that stuff in mind with this. But yeah, in the comments, let me know what your thoughts are on this. Does this Book 3 Zuko exclusive interest you? What are your thoughts on how they handled the pre-order here? And I suppose just in general, what are your thoughts on, do you think we're going to be getting a wave 2 of the Avatar Funko Pops coming up soon? Does the fact that this Zuko is book 3 highlight that we're going to get like a more book 3 centric wave of Funkos? But yeah, let me know that in the comments below. But that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.